Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 363. This episode, as always, brought to you by our great friends at Boost Mobile. Damonza, what a weekend. How about that? Teaser crushes.
Yep.
Your teaser won with ease, buddy.
No sweat.
Well, the Bills was a little bit of a sweat, ended up not being a sweat. It's weird to have a team +9 in a teaser that they're going to cost you the teaser and then they win the game outright, but that happened. Yeah. Cleveland, no sweat. Dallas, no sweat. You were on the right side of it. I almost talked you out of it because
I thought that game was going to be closer than people thought.
Take the Philly side, and because you don't think Dallas can win. Dallas, of course, didn't win, but could have.
Hung in there.
So, Yep. Teaser, great. It's not quite as good of a win, but avoiding a loss is almost as good of a win. I danced through the raindrops on the producer's stupid offer this week. I told you, listen, Trevor's going to throw him one. He's just going to throw him one. I had no doubt that the Jags were going to win that game, but Trevor's going to give him one. And so we avoided that. And despite starting the slate Friday night with a loser, KC -3 for me, and then Miami +1 just gets absolutely annihilated. And on that note, to finish the thought, still winning weekend. Cleveland +5, could have won outright, should have won outright. We'll get to them. Raiders +2.5, did win outright. Buffalo +1. Again, folks, this is the key to actually getting the right side of the line. Not even the right side of the game. The books got annihilated for Bills-Ravens. Here's why. It starts, Damonza, Bills -1.5. So many people bet it. Hold on. Do I have this right?
No.
So many people bet Baltimore +1.5 that it flips all the way to Baltimore. Let me start over because it's going to be confusing for the audience. It opens Buffalo -1.5 at home. All the action comes in on Baltimore getting 1.5. Enough so the line flips all the way to Baltimore -1.5. Enough action comes in on Buffalo +1.5 that it settles at Buffalo +1. And then Buffalo wins by 1. And so because of that, all the early Ravens bettors getting the Ravens +1.5 won, and all the late Bills bettors getting the Bills +1.5 or +1 won. That's a disaster. That's the worst case scenario for the books. And by the way, our show brought to you by our great friends at Hard Rock Bet. That is, you really, really want to avoid that exact scenario. But it also, if you liked Buffalo in this game and you bet them early, you lost. If you had Buffalo -1.5, you lost. So all of that is noteworthy. Here's the other thing that's noteworthy. I have a lot invested in the Colts being bad. I was flirting with them being, having the number 1 pick. Certainly them missing the playoffs. And, I have a lot of preseason investment in that. Which means I now have, Damonza, a de facto investment in the Dolphins better be absolutely horrific. That game needs to have been about how bad Miami is. Because if Miami's just average, then the Colts are good, and I'm in trouble. I'm already starting behind the 8 ball. Yeah. And so, Daniel Jones played the game of his life. All right. So all of that coming up in the show. Here's how I want to do these Tuesday shows. I would like, in theory, for us to spend at least 20 seconds on every single game. Like that every game of the weekend will be addressed. Now, maybe come week 10 or 11, if there's a game between two truly out-of-it irrelevant teams, we'll break that rule. But early in the season, there was only one game that I looked at and I was like, even 20 seconds, is it too much on this game? Do you know what game that was? Do you have a guess? where both teams, I'm like, do we need to talk about it?
Cardinals Saints.
You nailed it. You nailed it. But
that was
we'll
a good
hit
survivor
everything.
pick this week, I feel like, Arizona.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So all of my survivor picks this week were either Cardinals or Jags. Most Jags, our team one for the show was Jags. It is so maddening that Brian Callahan's the worst coach I've ever seen in the last decade in the NFL, because 40% of the $1 million pool would have been knocked out with the Broncos losing. You had 75% of the pool had either Philly, which could have lost, Denver, which should have lost, or Cincinnati, which was dying to lose.
Yeah.
Instead, every favorite won except for the Chiefs. Every big favorite won, 3 points or more, except for the Chiefs. All right, straight to voicemail, brought to you by Boost Mobile. Syracuse beat UConn in overtime, and then head coach made them do wind sprints. Okay, Bill Belichick is imploding is too strong, but it's not far from what he's doing when he talks about, I'm not welcome there. Why would they be welcome here? Because you're trying to get your guys into the NFL, bro. And Damonza, question. Are you reclaiming Daniel Jones?
Oh.
Or you need to see more?
Not reclaiming Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, like you said, we got to see what the Colts are actually going to be about and what Miami is. But
okay.
But I'll be watching them. I'll be watching them 100%.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I'll be watching him. At least not early on. I don't know that they're going to make they didn't make I had 6 games on in front of me in the 1 o'clock window this weekend. Colts Dolphins wasn't one of them. I did. And so we'll see. All right, please guys. Oh, by the way, I just got the numbers on the pod, like how many listeners we have. Obviously the YouTube numbers anybody can see. I'm very pleased and thankful and greatly appreciative of you guys who subscribe to the pod on iTunes and Spotify. Even if you consume it just on YouTube, if you would just go to your phone and subscribe on iTunes or Spotify, it would help us. If you throw us a rating, that would help us as well. 5 stars is obviously preferred, but just give us your honest rating. And, subscribe on YouTube as well. All that stuff is super helpful. All right, Monday Night Football, Damonza, and we might have a problem.
Yeah, so the Bears came out looking pretty good. Caleb had that nice drive in the beginning of the game. Seemed like they were controlling it. Even JJ McCarthy threw a pick 6, but they still turned it around and won. So obviously, Caleb Williams lost last night. What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
All right. I'm officially a little concerned about Caleb. I was not at any point last year, but the sequence of the last 96 hours where I'm a subscriber. I was already a subscriber to Tyler Dunn's Substack. It's like $50 for the whole year. Support real journalism. He is the guy. If people are like, it's Go Long TD. Let me see if you go to golongtd.com if that takes you there. I actually don't know the answer to that. No, so hold on. Let me see what the actual was. So, no, it does. Oh, maybe, yeah, golongtd.com, but it's on Substack. He is the guy who broke the story a year ago, Damonza, that Sean McDermott tried to rally the troops by being like the 9/11 hijackers thing. He has real sources. He is a real journalist. He's totally independent. So I was already a subscriber of his. He has released a 3-part book on Caleb's first year with the Bears. It ain't great. And it is, to me, highly concerning. It also discusses, the person who comes out looking the worst is Ryan Poles, the GM. Caleb doesn't look great, though, in it either. And it talks about a shaky work ethic, not necessarily galvanizing leadership, and then a shocking statement from some of his sources that there is a belief within the front office that was kept from the coaching staff that Caleb might have the learning disability dyslexia, which there is obviously no shame in that at all. However, one of the ways dyslexia can manifest itself obviously is you transpose words or letters, and that one of the reasons they postulate he might have trouble translating the play call from his headset to his wristband, getting it in, getting plays in on time, is a confusion about what he's reading. And that is not something that is, you can't overcome. But it is something that has to be accounted for. And the reporting is that the front office kept it from his coaches last year. Now, obviously, Ben Johnson, one would think, has all this information. And if you watched last night, you saw most notably that play on the sideline when Caleb spun out of trouble, went to the sideline, and then ripped an absolute laser to, I don't know if it was DJ Moore or Rome, I'm not sure.
Rome.
Why the talent, Damonza, is undeniable and hypnotizing. It just is. And you saw that obviously throughout his remarkable collegiate career. But his right now deficit on the pre-snap parts of being an NFL quarterback, to me, are going to slow his development. And you saw that left and right last night. That getting plays in was still a problem. Motioning guys when there's a few seconds on the shot clock, on the game clock or the play clock, was still a problem. Some things that he really needs to be at this point, in my opinion, better at, those things have become, at one game in, have not improved. And
you don't think his decision-making at all improved a little bit from last year?
So I do think his decision-making improved. I'm talking about the pre-snap operation. I'm talking about getting the team out of the huddle, conveying the play call in time, doing the things necessary to prevent these 5-yard pre-snap penalties. That was brutal the whole night. It just was. And while his decision-making, I thought, was better, and he was quicker getting the ball out, his accuracy was shaky.
Yeah, he's putting a lot on him. Putting a lot on him.
Putting a lot on the ball, and also just missing. There were a couple spots he missed guys wide open. And so, if I am being fair, which I have to be, I still believe in Caleb Williams. I am less certain that superstardom is in his future. And
wow.
I think that is, for me, as a guy who said he would come into the league as a top 10 quarterback, tough pill to swallow. Trust me. But
you don't think it might be a little early with it being game one? Like if they were to go and put it on the Lions, would that change stuff immediately?
Maybe I'm going to look back on this and say I was, it was 10 hours after the game and it was reactionary. But I understand most of the audience has not read the Tyler Dunne story. And again, his Substack is golongtd.com. I highly encourage people. It's worth the $6 a month. It's less than that, $4 a month. It's worth it just to read this story, to be totally honest with you. that story shook my faith in a real way. And then this game, of course, listen, he started 10 of 10. It started great. It ended so poorly. And listen, he's not the only culprit in this, which brings us to Ben Johnson, where I didn't like Ben Johnson's decision early to not kick the field goal. I just think you don't have the Lions team from last year. You're also playing a team that is going to be hard to accumulate points on, as evidenced by the fact your offense, struggled to score points throughout the night. I know they finished with 24. One touchdown came with 2 minutes left, and another one was a pick six. But JJ at that, you know what I mean? There was reason to believe JJ would struggle early, and he did. But the bigger problem is, and evidently Peyton Manning peeped this on the Manning cast, because of course he did. I was surprised Joe and Troy didn't. But this is a coaching note that is simply, listen, nobody's in the Brian Callahan category, more on him later. But this was a mistake by Ben. So here's the situation. He understood we've got to score before the 2-minute warning. Caleb almost ran it in before the 2-minute warning at 2:04 or 2:05. They end up ruling him, out of bounds at the 6-inch line. They then do a quick pass score. They score at 2:02. They have one timeout. With the 2-minute warning and one timeout, if you force a 3 and out, you're going to get the ball back with about a minute left, down 3 points, and be alive. Without the 2-minute warning and one timeout, you're going to get the ball back with about 20 seconds left and be dead. It's that simple. The 2-minute warning must be retained, in part because I think Ben challenged a play because he didn't understand the rule. Now, that's a tricky rule because, so let me back up to it. The rule is, if someone's knee is on the ground and you touch them, they're down immediately. What Ben saw, or his guy in the booth saw, is, we didn't touch the player who was down. We punched the ball. And we punched the ball so cleanly, we never touched the player until the ball was loose. So is that a fumble? And so he challenged it. And the answer is no, it's not. Even just touching the ball when a player is down on the ground, he's down. So that's like a nuance of the rule. Head coach needs to know that. So that's why they only had one timeout instead of two. But now we get to 2:02 left. And Cairo Santos, who missed a field goal earlier and is not known for the strongest of legs, Damonza, Ben Johnson tells him, kick it out of the back of the end zone to retain the 2-minute warning. Kevin O'Connell tells his guy, if you can return it, return it. Don't worry about the yardage. Just return it to burn these 2 seconds. Sidebar, no one's ever done this, but I would encourage it. The actual sharpest play there for that returner, if he only has to burn 2 seconds, is to catch it and run sideways, staying in the end zone to burn as much time as possible, and then just step out the back of the end zone for a touchback, or kneel it for a touchback. Then you still get the 35-yard line. You don't risk a fumble. You burn more time because the guys have to get to you. But again, that is PhD level coaching, of which, not everyone is here yet. That's fine. Kevin O'Connell did a great job with it. But here is the nuanced part that matters in particular with the new touchback rules, Damonza. The new touchback rule is If you kneel it in the end zone, if you kick it into the end zone and they kneel it, they get it on the 35. They did not change the fact that if you kick it out of bounds, you get it at the 40. So, if the single most important thing to your team is that they not be able to return this kick, and you don't have a cannon-legged kicker who can kick it out the back of the end zone on command, then you don't ask him to kick it out the back of the end zone, which he might not be able to do. You ask him, fire that thing 45-degree angle right out of bounds, which everyone can do. You give up 5 yards, who cares? You guarantee, so instead of the 35, it's the 40. That doesn't matter. What matters is now that next play happens at 2:02, there's nothing they can do about it. That was a mistake by Ben Johnson. I saw it in real time. Peyton Manning on the Manning cast evidently saw it in real time. And I thought that was a mistake. So listen, I don't think that was like an awful first game by Ben Johnson, but the bad challenge and the trusting that Cairo Santos can just boom it out the back of the end zone were very costly mistakes.
So what are you giving him as a grade in his first game?
Blew a big lead. Offense didn't really get going after the opening script. Those mistakes, C+.
C+?
C+. Giving him a C+. All right, let's spend a second on JJ.
Yeah, I was about to say, so after seeing that performance by JJ, what do you expect from him moving forward?
Well, listen, I think that the comeback and his role in it and the confidence he's going to get from it, you know, if they didn't get that comeback at the end and it was just he threw a pick 6 and they lose, I think the next few weeks could be real rough. Instead, a guy whose rep coming in was just a winner, makes big plays, galvanizing force, just adds to it in his first ever NFL game. Pretty good. Like, that part is really good. So I didn't think he was that impressive. I didn't think he was that good. But he had the moments, which I think are, you know, super relevant and super, you know, useful. And so I want to give him credit for that. Am I sold entirely that, like, you know, he's going to be a franchise quarterback? No, of course, not yet after one game. But for what his rep was, Damonza, that was an awesome start. That was...
He fit his description in this game.
Yes, for sure.
Will you be giving...
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Will Caleb be getting similar treatment to the Prince? You know how Trevor had bad coaching and then he had his coach, and that was officially his first year. It's similar to Caleb?
Let's listen. I mean, if Trevor does what the Prince did, which is have an awesome second year, make the playoffs, win a playoff game, then yeah, we can just say, or if Caleb does what Trevor did, we can just say, yeah, it was all on Eberflus, and I think a lot of it was on Bears dysfunction, Eberflus again. I'm not saying, like, I'm out on Caleb. I am saying that some of the stuff that I wanted him to be just a little tighter on, I didn't see. And that just is what it is. All right, if you guys didn't see it before, we are extremely excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Everybody knows and loves the Hard Rock hotels and casinos, and now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook to place your bets all NFL season and beyond. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also now available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states launching all the time. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you are in New Jersey. Throughout the football season, we'll be using Hard Rock Bet lines to make our predictions for the biggest games. As we gear up for the NFL season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet. Make a $5 bet and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. And so thanks to our friends at Hard Rock Bet, and reminder to everyone out there, like, rate, subscribe, review. We would greatly appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, thank you. If you're checking us out live, we appreciate that. Feel free to put some questions or comments in the chat as well. All right, Damonza, let's get to the Chiefs.
All right, so Chargers and Herbert did about everything correctly against your Chiefs on Saturday.
Yep.
Or was that Friday night? Sorry.
Friday night. Yep.
Last week you said how important this game was with Philly, the Super Bowl rematch coming up.
Yep.
And you admitted that you weren't as nervous when you saw how the rest of the AFC played. How are you feeling now? This is a safe space. If you want to come out and say that you're a little worried, you can.
So I'm not worried about the AFC West. I thought the Chargers played great. I think the short version of it is I thought the Chiefs played really poorly. I think the Xavier Worthy injury was not having a player for a month that you know you're not going to have is one thing. Losing a player 3 plays into a game when you've built your game plan for that game around that player's skill set is a different thing. So you know what I mean? I also think there was a true emotional, you've got to be kidding me. Here we go again. You know, last year you lose Hollywood Brown before the season starts. Rashee Rice gets hurt in week 4. You're going through it now 3 plays into the year. Xavier Worthy, friendly fire, you know, his shoulder pops out. So I think all that, played a part in how the Chiefs looked. My concerns for the Chiefs are because Rashee will be back, and Worthy, I believe, escaped major injury. I think Worthy could be back in 2 weeks. He's not going to have surgery. He's going to wear a harness. Now, he's 160 pounds. It could happen again.
Yes,
and if it happens again, he has to have surgery. And so that's the issue. This is, my take on skinny football players is sadly, there's a reason I have it. The part of the Chiefs, there are 2 pieces of the Chiefs game from Friday night that for them to win the Super Bowl have to improve. Okay? One is the running game can't be that bad. Just can't be. Pacheco's got to be better at seeing where the blocks are and hitting the hole. And I like Isaiah. He's got to be better. So that's one piece of it. The other piece of it is that the pass rush paired with the secondary got carved up in a way I have not seen the Chiefs secondary carved up in years. Truly. That has to instantly get better if they're going to win a championship. Okay? Or compete for a championship. Those are fair and legitimate week 1 concerns. What I am truly beside myself about is the commentary after that game about Patrick. And this is where I will die on this goddamn hill. And I apologize if it sounds like I'm in reruns here, but I have to just very quickly give folks the sequence of the last 26 months in the NFL or so, and how many people just have the total inability to remember their own opinions. Okay? Going into the 2022 season, there was legitimate chatter about, will the Chiefs take a massive step back without Tyreek Hill? What will Patrick look like without Tyreek Hill? How will Patrick and the Chiefs respond to not having that weapon and losing the AFC Championship game the way they did? He responded by winning league MVP, setting the still standing record for most total yards in a season. And then in the postseason, beating the team that beat him the previous year on a bum ankle, and then playing a perfect Super Bowl to the tune of 38 points. And then in February of 2023, folks said, I can't doubt Patrick. 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Okay? That's February of 2023. It is now, you then go to January of 2024. Again, not ages ago. And the general consensus is, this is the worst Chiefs team of the Mahomes era. They are super vulnerable. No one can catch the ball. And they're underdogs in 3 consecutive playoff games. People look at the Bills. They have to go to Buffalo. The Bills have the better team. And Patrick outplays Josh and wins. They have to go to Baltimore. Baltimore has the far better team. And Patrick outplays Lamar and wins. And then in the Super Bowl, executes another 10-point comeback, plays another perfect fourth quarter in overtime, wins the Super Bowl, and in February of 2024, everyone agrees, all right, I'm really never doubting Patrick again. I promise. And then last year happens. And the Chiefs win games but look funny doing it. And then there is real doubt once again. And then the AFC Championship game rolls around. And a Chiefs team that hasn't been able to score more than 30 points all year puts 32 on Buffalo. And Patrick outplays Josh to get to his 3rd straight Super Bowl. And in February of this year, 2 games ago, the universally held consensus is the following. Patrick Mahomes is 1 game away from having a real argument. He's the greatest player of all time because of the three-peat. The Chiefs are worse than Philadelphia at running back, offensive line, wide receiver, defensive line, defense as a whole. But I'm picking the Chiefs because you can't bet against Patrick. They're the favorites because of that. They're the media pick because of that. That's 2 games ago. He walks into that game with everyone saying, all right, we can, he's in a different class than Josh, who's beaten 4 times now. Lamar, who had another tough playoff moment. All of it. 2 games ago. They then get crushed in the Super Bowl. Have a rough week 1. And now all those same fucking people are like, all right, let's be serious. Josh and Lamar, they've elevated past him. Just remember your own goddamn takes, people. It was February of 2025 that after they won again to get to their 3rd straight Super Bowl, for a team that everyone acknowledges he's the only player in the league that could have won 17 games with that team, had that team in the Super Bowl. Everyone said he's in a different class of player. And we are so fickle and so, what have you done for me lately? That 2 games later, one of which, by the way, Damonza, he was the best player for the Chiefs in. He played awesome Friday night. People are like, I'm not sure. What's wrong with Mahomes? It's going to drive me insane. 2 games ago, you thought he was a game away from being the GOAT. Now, you have him as the 5th best quarterback in football presently. And I come across as an apologist because I'm the only person that remembers these things, evidently. All of you in the media that picked the Chiefs in the Super Bowl did it because of him. You thought the Eagles were better everywhere else. And now that same guy, you're like, I don't know. It's embarrassing. It's a sad state of affairs that 3 games ago, folks said, Josh Patrick, how can you even make an argument? And now, again, think about that. Late January of 2025. We are in 2025. Everyone set their swords down and said, okay, listen. Patrick's the best player in the world. And then because he played poorly in his 5th Super Bowl, 3rd consecutive, and Josh was playing golf, folks are like, oh, I don't know. And then one week, one game, and now it's the general consensus. It's a crazy, crazy turn of events.
Man, you think because it was like a shootout with Baltimore and Buffalo, everybody's like, ooh,
yeah.
Chargers
Listen,
game
Josh
wasn't
was
as-
unbelievable in that game. Lamar was unbelievable in that game. I'm not doubting that. I just want people, again, I am
Consistency.
not, what I don't want is this. I'm not trying to live off 2018 and be like, well, Patrick has a Super Bowl from 5 years ago and Josh and Lamar don't. I'm trying to live off this calendar year a few games ago. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And today, spoiler alert on TV on Mahomes Mountain, I'm still going to have Mahomes at the top, and people are going to call it outrageous. People are going to say it's outrageous. Like Colin is saying Josh is the most talented player he's ever seen. Simmons is saying Josh is the best quarterback in the league. Again, what were you guys saying 2 games ago? Ask it. Go look. Check the archives.
Is talented the same thing as winningest? Because I do feel like Josh Allen has more of the athletic gifts, I should say. Patrick Mahomes is obviously gifted.
But then why doesn't that's to me, we can walk down that path, but then that's almost an insult to Josh, because Josh at a few of these games has had the better roster. In all of the games, he's had the better defense. In one of the games, he was at home. So if he's the better physical talent, it's a fair fight teammate-wise. Why can he not win? It's just, I don't know. I think I wouldn't, if I were a Josh Allen fan, I wouldn't want that to be the argument. My guy's actually the most talented, but just can't win.
Put it that way.
I'd rather it be my guy's an all-time talent. Your guy just is superhuman. But I don't know. All right, by the way, I am so excited. I'm going to Kansas City on Friday, or I'm going Thursday. We're doing the show from Kansas City on Friday, and I think I might stay in town to watch Chiefs-Eagles. And as you guys know, I'm not a press pass guy. Now, would I be a, Kelsey or Mahomes suite guy if I were invited? Sure, maybe. But assuming that those suite seats at this point, I think because of some of the people sitting there, I think you might have to pass an FBI background check that I don't know if I would pass. So I'm probably just going to have to, if I stay for the game, buy my own tickets. And you know where I would get tickets to the Chiefs-Eagles rematch? SeatGeek. Want to give a sponsor to today's, or shout out to the sponsor of today's show, SeatGeek. 28 million downloads, SeatGeek, #1 rated ticketing app. More than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. With the NFL season here and the MLB playoffs approaching, now is the perfect time to get to a game. I love using SeatGeek. I used it for the U.S. Open, the whole tournament. You guys might have seen on Instagram, we had some sick seats. Thanks to my friend Chad. For the quarterfinals, we went with our family earlier. We get all those tickets all through SeatGeek. And again, for Chiefs, Eagles, there's seats available. You can get them here on SeatGeek. And again, they have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And if you guys could help me out, it would be great. You can use code WRIGHT10, WRIGHT 10. Shout out to First Things First producer Tatiana. I know she used this for some U.S. Open tickets. You get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. 10% off any tickets with promo code WRIGHT10. Make sure you click link in the description, download the app. You can have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to our friends at SeatGeek. All right, Damonza, let's get to the game of the weekend, Bills-Ravens.
Yeah, so that game didn't disappoint. Obviously, Buffalo came back against my Ravens. That 15-point lead erased. Harbaugh has now blown 17 double-digit second-half leads. The bigger story here is it the Bills win or is it the Ravens loss?
What do you think the bigger story is?
The bigger story here is, oh my gosh, the Ravens got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. The penalties and just
the fumble.
The penalties are just so frustrating. The penalties and just how we move when we need something. The Bills have the momentum. They're coming back, and we're running end arounds with Zay Flowers. Just rather get a first down. And
well, I'm glad did you bring up that end around with Zay Flowers? Because from what I said on the show yesterday, or did that bother you organically as much? Yeah. That play, Damonza, is like lost in the conversation surrounding the game. That was insane. Like, you need one first down to win the game. Derrick Henry is killing them. I understand Henry got stuffed on first down. You cannot use one of your downs on Zay Flowers. You just can't. It's got to be Lamar, ball in his hands. You know, if you see someone open, throws it or run, or Derrick Henry. So that I agree with entirely. And I also agree with you, the bigger story is the Ravens' loss. Because the Bills, listen, Josh Allen is an unbelievable player. And since he stopped turning the ball over, he stopped being a roller coaster, and I stopped calling him one. Like, I've been fair about Josh. Josh always had this amazing talent. He was a little too high variance of a player early. He removed some of that variance, and now he's just a killer. So the Bills coming back is not that shocking. The Bills' defense looking as bad as it did for the vast majority of that game is actually a little concerning. Like, weirdly, if I were a Bills fan, Damonza, I would be over the moon thrilled about the win, and you have the tiebreaker, and you have the easier schedule. You've never had the 1 seed since you've had Josh Allen. You now have a real shot at it this year. Like, all of that is super positive. But deep down, I'd be like, yikes, that defense. Like, that's a bit of a concern. But the story is Baltimore once again inventing a way to lose. Because this is what they do. And I know Harbaugh tried to make the point essentially that yeah, we've blown a lot of big leads, but we have a lot of big leads. Like, how fair, you know what I mean? Like, we're in this position more than most. Mike Sando has these figures. I think it's good. Since the start of the 2022 season, there are 7 teams, Damonza, who have had multiple score fourth quarter leads at least 20 times. Okay? So 7 teams have had multiple score fourth quarter leads at least 20 times. And Harbaugh is right that the Ravens have the most of them. The Bengals and the Bills have 21. The Lions have 22. The Chiefs have 24. The Niners have 25. The Eagles have 28. And the Ravens have 31. So that is a lot. Here's the problem, though. Record in those games from best to worst. The Chiefs are 24-0. And honestly, I just did a whole Mahomes thing. I don't need to do it again. That's the least surprising stat in the world, because while it's been a while since the Chiefs have been able to generate some big lead, the idea, I can't even conceptualize what it would look like for the Chiefs to blow a big lead.
Yeah.
No. For, you know what I mean? For the Chiefs to be up 13 in the fourth and lose. Like with Patrick, it just doesn't happen. Like, they're not going to make those mistakes. And Andy obviously deserves credit for that too. But the Chiefs are 24-0. The next best is the Eagles, 27-1. Then the Lions, 21-1. The Bengals, 20-1. The Niners, 23-2. And the second worst is the Bills at 19-2. And then the Ravens at 25-6. So yes, the Ravens have had slightly more opportunities. But the Chiefs have never lost in the last 3 years in that spot. The Eagles, Lions, and Bengals have lost once. The Niners and Bills have lost twice. And the Ravens have lost 6 times. That's not nothing. It's just not nothing. And I don't know that the Harbaugh-Lamar combo is going to get over the hump, man. I just don't. And Lamar's obviously, just getting better as a player, getting better in the playoffs. Like, I also thought, Damonza, how did you feel when you saw Harbaugh was punting on 4th and 2.5?
I mean, it's easy to say looking back at the game, like, definitely got to go for that. But also, we weren't stopping them. So it probably does make more sense to go for it in that situation, because the Bills have just they've been doing everything they wanted. So it's not 4th and 5.
Well, and here's the other piece. And
you got Lamar and Derrick Henry.
And I know Lamar said he was cramping, but what you can do there is, because the Bills used a timeout, they use a timeout, you get 2 minutes there to kind of recover. You then trot your offense out, try to draw them off sides, 40 seconds to recover. If you don't, call timeout, another 2 minutes to recover, and then you got to go for it. Because if you don't get it, you might get the ball back. You know what I mean? If you don't get it and they score, you get the ball back. And if you do get it, the game's over. And here's my only criticism of Lamar from that game. My only criticism. When he threw the pass on 3rd and 9, where he did, 3 yards short of the sticks. To
Zay over the middle.
Yeah. I think it was actually to Hopkins. I think that
it was to Hopkins. He walked over and talked to him. Yeah, it was Hopkins.
I assumed he threw it there because he
knew they were going for it.
Correct. But he was comfortable throwing it short of the sticks because it's 4-down territory. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I assumed was the case. If you don't know you're going for it, you can't throw short of the sticks there. Like, you've got to try to go get the first down. I also have a question for you, Damonza. And if the answer is it had nothing to do with the game, that's fine. You sent out a tweet an hour into the game that said that had a superhero, a bowl of ramen maybe, and then a trophy. Before you tell me what that is, I have a question. Is that a bowl of ramen in the in the picture.
Oh yeah, it's a bowl. It's a bowl ramen, yeah. Water, yeah.
Was it specific? Are you going to tell us what that was?
It had nothing to do with the game. I was about to eat.
I knew it.
I'm
I
good.
was gonna guess that.
Okay, pops. Let me come out and be fair. Yes. Yeah. It had everything to do with the game. I was tweeting Super Bowl champs. I thought the Ravens were going to win the game. That's why I left it cryptic. But yeah.
Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, it's a superhero. It's a bowl, and then it's a trophy.
I had it totally wrong.
What'd you think it was?
I had it totally wrong, and I thought our producers were gonna laugh. What people don't know about you is, while you're not what I would call a chef, you do consider yourself a bit of like an elite ramen
savant.
Yes, savant. Like adding eggs and different ramen. And I honestly thought you were watching the game and made yourself like a great ramen meal watching it, and were like calling yourself like the king of making ramen noodles. I swear to God, that's what I thought.
I'm the champ.
Like an idiot.
Another bowl down.
Yeah, now Super Bowl champ. That's pretty good. All right, that's pretty good. Okay. All right. Do you have a Derrick Henry tweet for me, or not tweet but question?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So aside from the fumble, Henry looked good as ever. Obviously, he had 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Do you think that it's safe to say that the cliff isn't coming this year? Because you said he was getting old.
Sure doesn't seem like the cliff's coming. Holy moly, that guy is unbelievable.
And that's scary for my futures
bet. Unbelievable player.
Yeah.
All right. And I have no problem with Lamar shoving the fan.
Me neither.
The fan shoved him first. I have no problem at all.
And not only him.
They didn't talk about it on the broadcast. Bills fans, stop throwing shit on the field. They were the originators of throwing sex toys on sporting event fields before it caught fire in the WNBA. And when Derrick Henry was running for his touchdown, they threw a water bottle on the field. They famously threw snowballs at the Chiefs, like icy snow. Like, stop throwing stuff on the field. Like, I have to listen every year to how Buffalo's got the greatest fans in the world because it's cold there and they shovel the stadium for them. Like, stop throwing stuff on the field. All right, let's talk about the other biggest game of the weekend before we do quick hitters on the rest.
So Green Bay backed up their preseason hype by dominating the Lions, thanks to Micah Parsons on defense and Jordan Love on that offense. Micah Parsons was limited, though. So on the other hand, you had some doubts about Detroit in the beginning of the season, or preseason, should I say, that seemed to come to life. They seemed to be justified.
Yeah, so to me, listen, Micah was unbelievable. Micah had the 1 sack, but his pressure caused another sack. Another one of his pressures caused the interception. This whole narrative, well, Micah's a great pass rusher, but he just kills you against the run. The Lions ran for the fewest yards they've run for in almost 2 full calendar years. Micah Parsons is an all-time great player. And maybe Kenny Clark for Micah, and I think Kenny Clark's an excellent player. And the point that I've been making when people were like, well, Dan Campbell tried to tell the media, like, we were actually happy Kenny Clark got out of there. We were more worried about him. Kenny Clark is such a good player, and he is. I know Kenny Clark. I like Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is such a good player that if you attach 2 first-round picks to him, you can trade him for a player as good as Micah Parsons. That's how good Kenny Clark is. Kenny Clark plus 2 first-round picks can get you a Hall of Famer like Micah Parsons. So don't, this idea that Micah wasn't going to have an impact was so stupid. And the Packers, if Jordan Love can just take care of the ball, are going to be really dangerous. The story there, though, is the Lions. Because not a promising first game without Ben Johnson, without Aaron Glenn, with the new interior of the offensive line. And Damonza, the 5 teams that everyone thought were going to be great, in no order: Eagles, Lions, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs. every year, one of those teams that everyone thinks is going to be great falls off, has a year from hell. Last year it was the Niners. The year before it was the Bengals. There's always a team. Now, some people listening right now be like, it's going to be your Chiefs. Maybe. We'll see. I trust Reed and Mahomes. We'll see. None of the 5, oddly, Damonza, I think loved their games this weekend. The Eagles certainly didn't love how they played. The Ravens loved how they played for 55 minutes, then hated it. The Bills feel the best, but don't love how their defense played. The Chiefs hate how they played, and the Lions really hate how they played. But of those 5, I think the Lions are in the most jeopardy. I think Goff, you get him off his spot, man, he can struggle, and they got him off his spot consistently. I didn't know. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say the Lions' win total dropped to 8.5. They entered the season at 10.5. Do you think that's a slight overreaction?
I think depending on the book, some books had them entering the season at 9.5, and then they lose this game. The Lions right now are probably a coin flip to make the playoffs in Vegas. I don't think that's an overreaction.
In week 1?
Green Bay was favored because the game was in Green Bay. But still, but they were favored by 1. You know what I mean? So that game was considered a coin flip. So I don't think it's just the loss. I think it's how they looked. All right, ever sign up for a phone plan thinking, wow, amazing price. Then a few months later, surprise, your bill's higher. With Boost Mobile, you pay $25 a month forever. That's unlimited talk, text, and data starting at just $25 a month. No price hikes, no contract, forever. Plus, Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network. They've invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Visit boostmobile.com or head to your local Boost store today and get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever. 5G speeds not available in all areas. After 30 gigs, customers may experience lower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the unlimited Boost plan. All right, Damonza, let's see, 30 seconds-ish guaranteed on each game, and then we'll, because we have gone long, but I said I wanted to hit something on every game, so let's hit them all. Go ahead.
So we can you want to just start from the top? We got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers rolled. Steelers offense looked great. How real is this?
Listen, I know Steelers fans want to believe the defense letting Justin Fields look like a superstar and allowing 30 points, that was a fluke. The offense looking amazing, that was not a fluke. I think they were both a little fluky. And I think that the defense will be better. The offense will be a little worse. I also thought Aaron's comments after the game was like, yeah, I was happy to beat everyone in that organization. All that organization did for 2 years was give you every single thing you wanted. They hired your buddy. They traded for your friends. They did every single thing they could do to accommodate you, and you feel scorned because you got fired. Give me a break. And this whole thing of you had me fly out here to be fired. If he had fired you over the phone, you would have been just as pissed. So no, I am not yet buying stock in the Steelers. I did think Justin Fields played well. Next.
Your guy Bake Show led a game-winning drive. Atlanta Youngwake, who missed a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
Or to tie the game, I'm sorry. But yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I didn't think Baker played great, but he did play clutch. But the story of that game was Emeka Egbuka, their first-round pick, who caught the game winner and was awesome. They did something I think interesting, which is they're like, we're not drafting for need. We're drafting best player. And they thought Emeka Egbuka was awesome. It didn't matter that they have Godwin at some point coming back and Mike Evans. They drafted him anyway, and he made an instant impact. And I love the Tampa getting that win without Tristan Wirfs against the only team in their division that could have any chance of competing with them and getting it on the road. That is such a huge win. So shout out to Baker. Next.
Who looked better to you, Bo Nix or the number 1 pick in Cam Ward?
Listen, Cam just has to stop throwing everything 150 miles an hour.
Darts.
I mean, he's throwing it over the middle in front of guys as hard as he can. So he's got to calm down on that. Bo Nix looks horrific. And he made one good play at the end of the half. But the story of that game is Bill Callahan, or Brian Callahan, pardon me, who, it's 6-3. There are 40 seconds left in the first half. You have the lead. You're on your own 5-yard line, and Denver, and this is the key, only has 2 timeouts. So if you run the ball 3 times or even take knees, you guarantee that you go into halftime with the lead. Guarantee it. Instead, he has Bo Nix drop back into Cam Ward drop back into the end zone, almost gets safetied, throwing completions, and Denver gets a touchdown before the half. Now, somehow they had a great kick return, so they got a field goal anyway. But so it's 10-9 before the half, and Denver feels great instead of it being 6-3 with Bo Nix being a mess. Listen, I told you guys that I thought Denver might have a good record early on. They could have lost that game, but Denver's offense is not what people have promised you it would be. Their defense is. And Sean Payton late in the game going for a style points touchdown that could have cost him the game. Like, it's just, I do not believe in the Broncos. I feel better about my Broncos fading even after the week 1 win. Next.
You don't really seem to like the Broncos. Your Jags won. Are you more in on Trevor or are you more out on Bryce?
Trevor was fine. Bryce might have been the worst quarterback in the league this weekend.
See the little clips of him circling around the media? Like he's like watching the Jumbotron. They said he was looking at the mini game in the middle of the game.
Wilds mentioned that to me. It was a really, really, really rough game for Bryce.
Yeah.
And he's the number 1 overall pick in year 3. Like, come on. Got to be better. Jags could be good. I told you guys.
Division.
Jags could be good. Oh, yeah, that's one of your bets. Next.
Division. The Raiders look good. Patriots look awful. What is the bigger story here?
Listen, Ginty wasn't the reason. Ginty, 19 carries, 38 yards. Geno stood in that pocket and just delivered downfield. Threw for 360. Threw a pick, got lit up, delivered downfield. The Patriots not being able to move the ball on that Raiders defense is a 5-alarm fire concern. And Drake May is officially on mid-watch. Like Drake May, like not pumpkin watch because that's not the point where he is in his career. He might just not be that good. Okay. And that was a very dispiriting performance from the Patriots. Very dispiriting for them. The Raiders, I told you guys the Raiders could be good, though. Next.
Cincinnati got bailed out by Cleveland's crummy kicking. Is Cincinnati's slow starts, or is they coming to an end?
No. I thought they were worse this year than when they lost to New England last year. If you're the Bengals, you have to feel like you're happy you won. But the Browns moved the ball. The only reason the Browns didn't score more was 2 passes Flacco threw off guys' hands that got picked. The Bengals had 7 yards, Damonza, in the second half. They had a 7-yard second half. And it seems impossible.
Nobody's talking about.
Because they won. Joe Burrow is in the exact opposite narrative category of Mahomes, where no matter what happens with Mahomes, people are going to find a way to pick at it. Burrow's in the opposite. Last year, for Burrow it was, well, they don't win, but he's been amazing. So what are you going to say? And then this week, he was awful, but they won. And they're like, well, he didn't play well, but they won. So what are you going to say? I don't know. We got to pick one. Cincinnati had the worst win of the weekend. Next.
Okay. So Dable is committed to Russ for week 2. How do you think he should play this if he plans on keeping his job?
I actually think he should go to Jameis. I think they don't want to go to Dart yet. I think Dart, they want to give him 4, 5, 6 weeks before they go to him. But Russ is clearly done.
Yeah.
So why not go to Jameis? Give Jameis a few games. Jameis might have a big game. He'll obviously at some point play himself out of it. And then you can go to Dart. Because they don't want to play Dart yet. I understand that.
The Giants think they're going to the playoff. Is the playoff push this year? Just saying,
No.
like, why not? Oh, okay, like Jackson Dart.
No,
get
I
as
just
many
think
reps
they
as you
think
can.
maybe Dart's not. I think they want Dart to have another month of like practices, meetings, film. You know what I mean? All that stuff, which I understand. But if Russ can't do it, and Malik Neighbors is freaking out because of it, then that's what you have Jameis for. Next.
Rams beat the Texans. What was your biggest takeaway there?
The Texans offense looked a lot like the Texans offense last year, which was not good.
Dormant.
I'd be a little Texans defense unbelievable, but I'd be a little worried about CJ and that Texans offense. That's my biggest takeaway, and that's a game that was there for the taking for them, and they couldn't take it.
Is Danny Dimes the next Geno Smith, the Sam Darnold quarterback revival story, or is Miami just terrible?
I think Miami's just terrible. I am gonna listen. Daniel Jones was unbelievable in that game. I have to give him credit, but I don't think anything close to that's sustainable. We'll see.
Also, go ahead. And then Tua came out and said, like, oh, like we're still upset with Tyreek Hill. Tua needs to be begging Tyreek Hill to stay on that team.
Miami's got a lot of problems, and Mike McDaniel. I would be checking the policy, the terms of my home or apartment lease to see like what the penalties for breaking it early is, because I don't know how much more time in Miami he's going to have. Next.
The 49ers are dealing with a handful of big injuries, including Purdy. How worried should San Francisco fans be that they're looking at another season from hell?
They should be worried, and they also might need a new medical or training staff or whatever. You can't be the most injured team every single year in the league, and it's a coincidence. Like, I don't understand anything about sports medicine, but you can't just always have guys pulling groins and calves and hamstrings and just keep the same trainers. That's first of all. Second of all, Purdy, I will begrudgingly give him credit for the final drive. 6 for 6 in the touchdown, even though that touchdown pass should have been picked immediately. Like, it was a terrible decision. Tariq Woolen had it and didn't get it, and that would have been his third pick, and they lost. Purdy was not very good in that game. Now we find out he was dealing with an injury or a couple injuries. But now, nothing, Damonza. I am all of a sudden about to be a huge Niner fan, oddly. Because somehow Jimmy Garoppolo leaving the Niners and instantly being terrible for some people didn't win me the Jimmy Garoppolo argument. That I was like, hey, he's a product of the Shanahan system. But do you know who their backup quarterback in San Francisco is? It's Mac Jones.
Oh.
If Mac Jones starts and looks great, then everyone has to concede I've been right all along.
100%.
If Mac Jones comes in and he's awesome, or even just fine, then that's got to be my final piece of evidence. Also, Sam Darnold fumbled what could have been a game-winning touchdown pass off his offensive lineman's ass. Just dropped back. The ball, like, nobody hit him. He just ran his hand. It was terrible. They could have won. Next.
Saints Cardinals?
Yeah, I did watch some because I had the Cardinals in Survivor. I wouldn't feel great if I were the Cardinals. I would feel really bad if I'm the Saints. Flatly. All right, and by the way, quick Knicks tennis corner. Carlos Alcaraz, told you guys. Listen, I'm not saying he and Sinner aren't a good rivalry this moment. What I am saying is he is a different tier and caliber of player. Alcaraz could end his career in the top tier discussion, and Sinner to me is just a tick beneath that. That's all. Like, rate, subscribe, review. Great job to you, Damonza, today. Also, Armando is asking, what time does the show start on Friday at the Power and Light District? Show starts 2 p.m. Central. There are no tickets necessary. It's funny. The bosses and other people are like, so like, what are we going to do? To get people down there? Do we need giveaways? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe this is my massive ego talking. I think people are going to show up to see the show. And if you're in Kansas City, just come. Again, just be there. Try to be there around, by 1:30, 1:45. The show's going to be 2 to 5. Me, Wilds, Brew, Danny, Greg, at Power and Light. It is free for everyone. We are still going to do the Thursday pod this week. We will actually record that early on Wednesday because we're flying Thursday, but regular pod schedule for you guys, and appreciate it. Great job, Damonza. Thank you to Volume. Thank you to Hard Rock. Thank you to Boost. Thank you to Blue Duck. Thank you to SeatGeek. And I think that covers everybody. See you guys on with Colin in about 90 minutes, or about 75 minutes-ish. See you guys on First Things First at 3. What's right?